The Big Three Brooklyn Nets are undoubtedly the worst mistake in NBA history and the worst failure in NBA history. They went from having championship hopes to all being gone from the roster within 2 seasons. So I'm going to be breaking down the story of what happened that made them this bad and why this just did not work at all for them. We'll talk about James Harden first, who was the first to request a trade and leave Brooklyn. What happened with him? Well, the story of James Harden really was a sad one because he is a great player. When he was in Brooklyn and healthy, he was an amazing player. He averaged like 30 points, 10 assists, but he just wasn't healthy. He just couldn't get his body in shape. He was not motivated to play with KD and Kyrie. He thought that Kyrie was too controversial, which honestly, if I'm going to speak for myself, he is too controversial. And he just didn't want to be with them. So he requested a trade and now he's with Joel Embiid. Next we have Kyrie Irving, who I just touched on him, but oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. First he had the vaccination, then he had all the stuff with injuries and the anti-Semitism. He was out for so long. He only played 70 games with the Brooklyn Nets. In 3.5 seasons, he only played 30 games. That's just completely ridiculous. Or 70 games, my bad. James Harden only played 30 games. Then you had KD, who is definitely the best all-time of all three of these players. But he's still just he's always injured. It's just... KD's KD. He's an amazing player. He's one of the best players that the game has ever seen, in my opinion. But he just could not mesh with Kyrie and James Harden. It just did not work. And then there was two. James Harden got traded away. So then KD and Kyrie had a free reign all to themselves. Kyrie, anti-Semitism, injured, KD also injured. So then Kyrie recently, 4 days ago, he requested a trade and he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Then there was one. Only Kevin Durant was remaining. What would he do? He would request a trade less than 72 hours later. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. And then KD was traded to the Suns for 3 solid players and 4 picks, which it can't be an overpay because KD is one of the greats to ever play the game, and getting him is just such a massive W. But yeah, now the Nets have gone fully into rebuilding mode. They have a ton of picks. They have a ton of young, solid players. They have Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and their future looks really bright. But this Big Three was the biggest failed experiment in NBA history, and I highly doubt that we'll ever see a Big Three like this again.